The Creative Control of Ishkana podcast is brought to you by you. Virtually all financial support for this show comes from listeners just like you, so please keep Creative Control going by making a flexible monthly donation at patreon.com/Creative Control. You'll be glad you did this. Not as glad as me, but still pretty glad. Thank you. Ian Blurton is a prolific musician, songwriter, and producer still based in his hometown of Toronto, Ontario. A figurehead in pioneering bands like Change of Heart and Come On, who are no longer with us, Blurton is currently in at least 2 active bands, Public Animal and Ian Blurton's Future Now. The latter features Glenn Milcham of Blue Rodeo on drums, bassist Anna Ruddick, and guitarist Aaron Goldstein. And they've just released a colossal and great new record called Signals Through the Flames. Ian Blurton's Future Now are playing shows to get the word out about this new album, including a stop at the 2019 Hillside Festival in Guelph. And so Ian and I met at his recording studio and practice space in Toronto to talk about this new band, their new album, and just how exactly he got into the loud guitars and the melodic singing thing. With the support of listeners like you who subscribe to this podcast and spread the word about it, and make flexible monthly donations at patreon.com/Creative Control, plus in-kind support from CFRU 93.3 FM, Pizza Trokadero, The Bookshelf, and Planet Bean Coffee in Guelph, and Grandad's Donuts in Hamilton, this is the 487th episode of Creative Control, featuring one of my heroes, Ian Blurton, with your host, me, Vish Khanna. Ian, how's it going?
Great, how are you?
I'm well.
Good.
It's good to be back in your space here.
Here we are, back in the space.
Back in the space. That's the last time we spoke on the record. I think it was for Change of Heart, wasn't it?
It was.
And what happened there? You guys played some shows.
Yep, we played some shows.
I went to a couple of them.
Sold some of the Smile reissue records, and there you go.
And then you kind of went off and did other things?
Yeah.
All of you?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's not true. 2 of you are now involved in this.
Yes, that's true.
You and Glenn.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this band first of all, in terms of what who's in it, what's going on, how it came together. Can you talk about this? It's
sure.
Ian Blurton's Future Now.
Yes,
which is a mouthful.
It's a mouthful. Yeah, as usual.
I was thinking
it's really easy to get on a marquee. First of all,
I was thinking about this actually because you have, for those we were just mentioning, Change of Heart, and that's kind of how you established yourself for a lot of us as being a guy in a band called Change of Heart. Then that band disbands, and you're in Blurtonia. That's your name is in the band.
Yeah.
Then you subsequently are in Come On and Public Animal, Bionic, of course, as well. So you're in bands with band names. And now we have a band that could be called Future Now, but it's Ian Blurton's Future Now. So what's going on with you and your name? Do you have more ownership over this group than you have others?
Yes, I do. I don't know. That was a lot of questions.
Well, no, there's a lot of build-up to the question.
Yeah.
The question was one question.
I guess what happened was I started writing a bunch of like super hard rockers, and they all seemed to fit together, and they seemed to be very guitar oriented, and needed a double kick. So Glenn seemed to be like the obvious choice. And then Damon played some drums on the record. Like basically I just started putting like power trios together, like with Darcy Yates and Anna Ruddock and Nick Sewell and PJ Dumphy and Eric LaRock all playing bass and Damon and Glenn playing drums.
Okay.
And recorded the record over like a year and a half like that.
How do you determine that your material needs a double kick?
There was a lot of ga.
Because I played drums a long time, but I've never really experimented with a double kick.
Right.
It seems like a feat somehow, but it literally involves feet. First of all,
2 feet.
Wow. What do you have you play a little bit of drums, right?
Oh, yeah, like so that's my first instrument. I'm not very good, but I enjoy it.
Right. So tell me about the mechanics of the double kick. Why is that interesting to you at this point in your life? A double kick drum, double kick pedal, I should say. Yeah.
I don't know. It just like it seemed like the songs seemed to need it, you know. And honestly, it's never been an issue before, and now it's an issue.
You've had other drummers. They haven't. Have you double kicked?
Glenn's
before?
Glenn's actually the only double kick drummer I've ever played with, as far as I know. Yeah.
So what? And I mean, for those who don't know, Glenn is known for being the drummer in Blue Rodeo.
Yeah.
Not a lot of double kick in there.
There's not a lot of double kick in there, no.
So, but he has a skill set that you wanted.
Yeah, and also something, you know, that maybe he wasn't exploiting that much. So it seemed like a good fit.
Okay. So, and I think the last time we established, you've known Glenn a long time.
He used to be my neighbor. Yeah. Like we lived beside each other on Bathurst at Harvard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you mentioned a bunch of people there that contributed to the record, but what's the band per se?
Well, the live band is Glenn when he can make it. Damon's played one show. And Anna Ruddock playing bass and Aaron Goldstein playing guitar. And, when they're around, that's going to be the band for now.
Okay, so Aaron and you, I know for a fact, connected when he was in a band called Huron.
Yes. And we had the Happy Endings Huron thing together.
That's right. You had another band together as well.
Yeah.
So that connection is just from that, I assume.
Yes.
How do you connect with Anna?
She was my upstairs neighbor.
You have to be neighbors with you.
You have to be neighbors, actually. Now I'm realizing this. Wow.
You're like the Mr. Rogers of Canadian indie rock.
Yeah,
and you just bring everyone.
That's basically it.
But she is a fantastic player.
Oh, yeah. She's amazing.
Just an amazing player.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have a sense, the record is out now? Is it out?
As we're speaking, June 7th.
Okay. As we're speaking, it's not out.
No.
Maybe by the time people hear this, it'll be out. And the album is called Signals Through the Flames.
Yes.
I was thinking about you and your writing today, as I sometimes do. Every couple months I think about, what is Ian Blurton writing about? What has he written about?
No way.
Why not? Sure. And I wonder if you feel like our current collective experience is manifesting itself in any of these songs. Like, I feel like there's some doom and gloom on this record. And there's also some kind of uprising here and there. I hear it. I'm being vague, obviously.
Yeah, you're being vague because I didn't give you the lyrics.
No,
I asked
you to. Yeah, and you didn't.
I just ignored.
Well, I hear people marching with torches and things like that. And what's going on?
What's going on?
Like, do you have a sense of what's going on thematically throughout the record?
I guess so. I don't know. I don't really. I guess there's a theme of like mortality and whatever. But I kind of wanted it to be like a poppy version of that as opposed to like a version of it.
Which is totally fascinating.
Yeah.
You articulate things that feelings that people have that are dark feelings, but I think you do it in a pop-oriented way.
Right.
Like you're trying to be heard. And you didn't send me the lyrics, and so
I didn't.
I'm trying to piece together things you were talking about.
Right.
I mean, one thing that stuck out for me is a reference to the Elvis Costello song "Pump It Up." Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't actually.
There's a point where you say you got to give it up if you don't really need it. And you say if you don't really need it over and over again. And it reminds me of the line from Pump It Up.
That's funny.
Is that
because I stole that from Thin Lizzy?
Yes, exactly. There's some Thin Lizzy stuff going on around as well. Maybe he's stealing it from them.
Yeah.
You're not a big Elvis Costello fan, per se.
Actually, yeah. I mean, the songwriting craft on the first couple of records for me is fantastic. Yeah,
right. Because I
really I dig the Nick Lowe production, like for sure.
Okay.
And he also did there was a Stiff 7-inch, and he did a Damned cover. Like
That's
everyone,
right. That's right.
and
Everyone
that
on that.
Damned cover is so great.
Okay.
You know, it's like he just rips the song apart and puts
So-
it back together in a weird way.
He weirdly Elvis Costello might be swimming around.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 I mean, it was hard not to be exposed to like Elvis Costello and Squeeze, and like the power pop, and Big Star too. Like just I think all that kind of in the same way.
You're a pop guy, like that kind of pop.
Part of it, yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
I mean, you've always been a guy that you come up with hooks. And
Yeah, I
what
love
you do.
hooks.
Yeah. So okay, I want to get to that and back to that in a second. But we were talking about the themes. You say there's some mortality stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're a personal writer, but I think of you as an observational writer. Where was this mortality stuff coming from, per se?
I think maybe like the age group I'm in, and just starting to see people struggle with that. Like as you reach 50 or 60 and having to deal with the physical aspect of it.
Yeah, that's coming.
Not
through.
necessarily myself, but like just watching other people go through that stuff.
Do you think of yourself as like an observational songwriter in that
I
regard?
don't know, actually.
Like, are you writing about
really-
things you see more than you feel, experience?
I really just try and write as off the cuff as possible and just be in the moment. So I don't really like observe and write down
Okay.
lines and things. Like if I'm writing a song, I'll write the lyrics there.
Okay. In the
moment.
In the moment.
Yeah.
And you don't know where it sort of comes from.
Not really, no.
Never? You've never?
Not really, no. Well, because Rob Taylor wrote all the lyrics in Change of Heart, or at least, 90 or 80% or whatever. So I don't know.
Is he an influence on you?
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah.
He is for sure.
Huge, yeah.
Okay. So
In all, like, yeah. In so many ways. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So thematically, you feel almost a little distance from your own material. Like you can't quite articulate maybe where it was coming from, but you feel like this sense of mortality that you're describing about your age group. I mean, we're all feeling it right now, right?
Yeah,
Culturally?
yeah.
Like this feels like a bad time.
I don't know about bad. I think there's a lot of really amazing things going on.
Yes, that's another thing about you. You're an optimist.
I don't know about that.
You
actually.
are.
I
Or
don't.
I think
I flip a lot.
You've got love coming out of you when you're writing songs, for sure. Like, I mean, when you go to see your bands play, like, you really want crowd participation. You want people to feel joy.
Right. Yeah.
But
I want people to feel joy in the rock and roll experience. Like whatever that is.
So where does that come from? Who are you mentioned? We mentioned an influence there in terms of your songwriting, but. And I know, like, I've heard bands bandied about in terms of this new sound of yours, Budgie.
This new sound.
Well, this hot new sound that all the kids are talking about, that the future now.
Yeah.
But like, I've heard Budgie bandied about.
Right.
You mentioned Thin Lizzy, maybe, which comes. I think there's just guitar parts that reminded me of Thin Lizzy.
Oh yeah,
in there.
absolutely.
Yeah. Are you going back to your youth a little bit and kind of conjuring what you're doing right now?
Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of that, like like a bit of a love letter to like a lot of the heavy things I like.
Are you feeling reflective in that way?
No, no, it just felt really natural to do actually. I could see maybe as like a metal outsider, you might think this is like I'm jumping on something, but I don't know. It felt very natural to do all that stuff,
I think it feels a part of your trajectory in terms of your artistic stuff. Like you mentioned the double kick as being like double kick. I think people associate with metal.
Yes.
And heavier stuff, heavier sounds.
Yes.
And I mean, you haven't really had it before, so maybe that's there. But no, I guess I'm just wondering if going back to this sort of sound from, it's a bygone era, like some of the bands we talked about.
But there's still all, a lot of them are around.
Right. Okay. So you're not
some way.
in some way.
Yeah. Well, there's always the little particles of those bands left.
Well, one of the things I wanted to get at with you is I think of you as a really hardcore rock and roll fan who happens to be making rock and roll music of your own. Like, I don't think you've ever. It doesn't seem like it's a derivative thing. You seem very reverent of the people you admire and the way they seep
absolutely.
into your.
Oh yeah.
Are you nodding to? I mentioned like what I thought was an Elvis Costello reference, for example, and we mentioned a few potential sonic influences. Like, do you feel like you're paying tribute to a band like Budgie or Thin Lizzy by making the music you're making?
I hope so.
Like giving something back?
Yeah, like they meant a lot to me, and I think there's for me, there's a purity in the way I thought about music at that time that I wanted to kind of reflect now, and that's why a lot of that stuff came in. There's Hendrix stuff in there, obviously too, because I mean, I adore Hendrix, but
You say purity. What does that mean exactly?
like no, like before, I guess before when I was younger and didn't really understand how the music industry worked and like things like that, and going to see shows and being just like completely floored by a band, like just that amazing feeling that music can bring you. So,
do you remember your first show?
Yeah, I was actually, well, it's probably Peter Frampton at with Spirit at the C&E.
The big grounds there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, my older sisters took me to a lot of great shows. So
How old were you?
I think I was 10 or 11.
10 or 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I took my 4-year-old to see AC/DC.
Right.
When he was 4.
Yeah.
And
so there you go.
but I mean, it was a big field and he liked them
Yeah.
and I thought it would be fun. And in retrospect, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? It was fine.
It was really loud.
Yeah, no, it was good. He had his headphones
Right
on
on.
and blah, blah, blah. But do you remember, was it that show that made you feel like you could play?
Well, yeah, I think it was more like do you know that band Bond?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw them at a car show. That was probably one of the first shows where I was like, oh. And also my grade 8 teacher had a band and he had like these lights that are homemade lights and he played one of our like school functions and I was like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Yeah, when you see someone making music or someone from your town making music, it feels more relatable, doesn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, that's what I always liked about, local scenes too, is like seeing incredible bands on a local level,
Yeah. So you see your teacher, you see Peter Frampton.
Yeah.
Do you pick up a guitar? How? When?
Well, I was playing drums at that point.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and then I got a guitar for I think Christmas or my birthday, one of the two, and switched.
Lessons, or did you just try?
No, I actually really did not like my drum teacher, and he's also taught the guitar in the place.
Why didn't you like your drum teacher?
I don't. Well, he wouldn't let me play left-handed. First of all.
Oh, that's right. You're left-handed.
Yeah. So
he just tried to say you weren't.
Yeah. He made me play right, and it kind of makes me quite a bad drummer, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how long were you doing drum lessons?
A couple of years.
Okay.
Maybe? Yeah.
And the wrong hands.
Wrong hands, backwards. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I just don't know. In all the million times we've talked, I don't think I've actually gotten your kind of guitar origin story. That's why I'm asking.
Oh.
So I don't know.
Well, yeah, my dad always had a guitar like around, but he's right-handed, so I kind of fiddled around on a upside-down guitar for a long, long time.
Okay. And you fiddled by yourself. You're just figuring it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Were you someone who could play by ear?
Not really, no. That's why I kind of steered away from covers for a long time, was just the inability to do it properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what, did you have some kind of breakthrough moment per se with? I think of you as one of our, when I say our, I mean the world's finest guitar. I love your guitar playing. I mean,
right.
I always have. You're really good at
Thank
it.
You.
And so I just wonder where you went from fiddling around on a wrong-handed guitar.
It was actually change of heart, tried out. Rob Taylor was the bass player. I was the drummer, more or less. And we tried out singers and guitar players, and we could not find anyone. So I switched to guitar and sang. So that's the real, catalyst, I guess.
Was it more rudimentary at the time?
Oh, my God, was it ever. Oh, yeah.
So
yeah. I know first show, I turned around only to sing, and then I would immediately turn back around and, walk to the amp and face towards the amp. So, yeah, it wasn't a natural thing.
Do you still get nervous?
Yes. Yeah? Oh, yeah.
You seem to have an intense...
But I like it.
I've talked to you just before you've had to play, and I can tell you're not listening to me.
Yeah, I know.
As you shouldn't be.
I get super scattered right before shows, actually, because I'm like, okay, I got to plug this into that, and then plug that over there, and yeah.
Okay, so you've always had that, I guess, self-consciousness, but actually at the same time, it's quite a marvel that you push yourself on stage.
I guess so.
For a
yeah.
shy guy.
For a shy guy, yeah.
So you, is it fair to say you learned the instrument just by having to do it? Like having to...
Yeah, definitely having to do it. Like we played our first show like, I don't know, months after we started.
Change of heart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it was pretty abysmal.
So
we learned together. Like that's one thing Rob and I grew up like playing together, learning together, like how do you put a song together and all that stuff.
Okay. So was there anything, and this was all in Toronto for people who don't know.
Yeah.
Was there anything about the community at the time that kind of fostered that? Fostered your ability to do that? Did you have access to places
in Toronto?
to play?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We played everywhere. Yeah.
You would just play like not clubs. How were you?
Clubs,
How old were you?
I would actually have to bring a note. I swear, there was like a liquor, a note from my mom saying that it was okay. I was 16.
Right.
Like we started playing the Bev pretty damn regularly, like when I was between 16 and 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, just playing, and that's how you learn.
Yeah. And the whole like the Queen Street scene was pretty vibrant at that time, and there was speakeasies you could play as well. So there was like a lot.
Right. There was a lot of
There
opportunities
was
to
a
play.
lot of opportunities.
So you're playing pretty rudimentarily, and you're going and going and going. But at some point, I think I was just talking to you before we started about a breakthrough moment I just had on guitar recently, where I was like, I'm gonna try to learn the magical part. Like I've learned the open chords, I know the bar chords, I kind of know where things are on the neck, but I've never really tried to do leads. I've never really tried to figure that scales and all that stuff. I just thought it seemed too, I don't know, music schooly or something. I was being snobby and stupid about it. And now that I've learned a little bit of it, I'm like, oh, this feels like a breakthrough moment on an instrument that I've had in my possession since I was 16. Did you have that?
I have numerous all the time, and still, yeah. I mean, like Jeff Beck last summer, Derek Trucks. I don't know.
So you watch people, and then you say, "I'm going to try that when I get home,"
or at least I try and get the feel of what they're doing home.
Okay. Okay.
But like, yeah, I mean, Jeff Beck completely destroyed me last summer. It was amazing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was it a Yardbirds type thing, or was it just
no? It was
Jeff
like
Beck group?
Jeff Beck group. I can't remember the drummer's name. Vinny Calaluda. I don't know his last name.
The fellow who plays with lots of different people?
Yes, he was just incredible.
Okay, so you're still getting your mind blown by music.
Oh, I'm still getting my mind blown constantly. Actually, that band that, we were just talking about, Two Mold, who are outside, I saw them last summer, and they were like, holy shit. Like, they were terrifying. They blew me away.
I remember talking to Ian Mackay once about this, where he would see a band that blew his mind, and there's two things that can happen when Jeff Beck blows your mind like that, or whoever does. One, you're like, I have to retire immediately. I can never be as good as what I just saw. Or the other is, okay, you've thrown down, now I'm going to throw down.
Yeah.
You seem to be in the latter.
I'm in the latter, definitely.
You see something and you're like, I got to figure out how to give something back.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
And do you know what that impulse is about? I think it goes back to your my view of you as being, maybe optimism is the wrong word.
Narcissist maybe?
No. I think there is hope in that, though. Hope to not be like, I got to go burn my guitars.
I just always found like punk rock to be super inspiring, and I kind of, that spread to other musical genres, like the do-it-yourself of, I mean, Jeff Beck learned how to play that way on his own. Like, it's an incredible thing to watch. He's like a master,
Okay. So, this goes back to my reverence thing. You're a fan as well as I can't see Jeff Beck being like, oh man, I saw Jimmy Page play last week. He's great. I mean, obviously there's some politics in that example.
Yeah, I don't think he would say that.
But I mean, there's very few people.
Well, maybe I shouldn't speak for Jeff Beck. Sorry, I apologize.
But I feel like I hear your influences a little bit in your music, but it's your own thing. Like, that's a rare thing to have. You have your own voice.
Right.
And I think that's something you've just honed by practice, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, that's something definitely. I mean, singing wise, I think for sure it's really come. It's come a long way in the last couple of years.
Do you have singing influences, by the way?
Rob Tyner.
Yeah,
100%. But I mean, I love Jimi Hendrix's voice. Like, I think I like weird voices a lot.
Do you think Jimmy's voice is weird?
Some people think it's weak, and I think perfect. I think it's perfect for the music.
It's like a bluesy voice to me, I would think, isn't it? I mean, how else would you describe that voice?
I don't know. Just
Okay.
kind of song talky sometimes.
So you, at some point, I think of you as, aren't you wearing an MC5 shirt right now?
I am.
Yeah, so you're a
Embarrassingly.
massive MC5 fan.
I am. They are probably my favorite band.
And you got to
Yeah.
open for the MC550, what was
Yep.
it?
Yep.
How-
I have actually. I saw Rob Tyner played the Silver Dollar on like I think it was my 19th birthday,
Oh, wow.
and then Come On opened for MC3, and then Public Animal did that. So it's
Oh, it was Public Animal that opened
Yeah.
the MC50
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, that was a cool show.
yeah, it was great.
So I've never asked you about this because my friend, and I think do you remember a fellow named Aaron Riches
Yeah, of course.
from Guelph?
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
in
yeah,
Royal
yeah,
City
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Minnow. He was in a really amazing
Promoter?
hardcore band. Yeah, and he would put on shows. I think you probably knew him from that,
Yeah,
maybe.
I did.
Yeah, yeah. So
did, actually.
Aaron's a dear friend of mine, and he's also obsessed with the MC5. Where did your obsession? I brought that up because I associate him with the MC5, and I associate you with the MC5. And I want to get into from you learning to play guitar and being in Change of Heart to getting into heavier and heavier and heavier stuff. Your music has gotten progressively heavier as you've gotten older, which is fascinating in its own way.
Yeah, but also I think some of the Change of Heart stuff suffers from guitar tone issues.
Oh.
You know,
Oh, you felt like it was heavy, but didn't quite.
it didn't quite come across. Like I think live maybe I don't know.
Well, I think by the end of Change of Heart, particularly with Damon, it felt like
Yes, yeah, the later records, but and I'm not talking about any engineers. I'm talking about myself.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like I always thought of the band having this. There is that weird realm in post-hardcore where lots of rock bands, like I think, realized that was a cool sort of sound and a cool attack. And but you guys, I felt like that was in there with Change of Heart. Like you
I
had,
just don't think it came across maybe as much as it could have.
because you were still learning.
Still learning. Yeah.
There's learning to play the guitar, then there's learning to make a way to make it
Makes it
sound
sound right,
good.
yeah.
Didn't you just tell me you got this crazy amp?
I did.
Can you talk about this? I'm
Yeah,
curious.
sure. We can talk about it.
What'd you get?
It's a Laney supergroup. Somebody made it's sort of a Laney supergroup made by Jim Jones in Winnipeg.
Cool.
Yeah.
And this is your dream amp?
It's one of my dream amps, yeah.
One of your dream amps.
and
Too many
it's
dreams.
It's complete now.
Okay. And this
Yeah.
is going to make you sound heavy. Probably.
It sounds pretty good so far.
Yeah.
I'm just recording some guitar next door.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm kind of all over the place, and I apologize. I was trying to get to you playing guitar, to you getting into heavy stuff, into getting into MC5. Was the MC5 a catalyst for you getting into heavier stuff? Wilder stuff?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, my oldest sister was really into Bob Seger, and that kind of led me into Detroit music. And also, I came in through Kiss Alive, kind of steered me in that, and Alice Cooper too.
So more mainstream stuff.
Yeah, kind of steered me in that direction into the more underground Detroit stuff.
I mean,
Like
if someone...
the upper, whatever.
Right. Okay. But what is it about the MC5 that has... I don't imagine... Are you still a Kiss fan? Are you still an Alice Cooper fan?
I'm massive both those bands.
Doesn't matter what they say or do as people. It doesn't...
Well, the Kiss that I like is up to 1978.
Right.
Basically, yeah.
So you're a massive fan of them from almost 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Or more than 40 years ago.
And I used to work at Maple Leaf Gardens selling shirts, and I sold shirts at the Dynasty show, and I was like, that was the first time I saw them, and I was like, okay, this is awesome, but there's something very off about what's going on.
You got to see... As a T-shirt seller, were you in the arena?
Yeah, you could go in
okay.
in between.
We associate it now as being, you got to go out into the lobby or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so you saw Kiss, that was what, 79,
I think.
79.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was huge for you.
That was massive, yeah.
But
yeah.
you thought something was off?
Yeah, well, because they had already started the decline as far as I'm concerned, even though some people would say the decline happened right when they formed. But
Okay. Do you, I was going to say, I don't know if I could even answer this myself if someone were to ask me, but do you know what kind of, I mean, I think of you as a dynamic music fan as well. I think you like lots of different stuff. And that comes through in some of the records you've made as a producer as well. It's not all double kick drum.
No, it's not. And in fact, in the van, it's like Tangerine Dream.
Right.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but to go back to where I was trying to formulate a question, do you have a sense of what pushed you into edgier, harder rock music?
No, I think it was always there. It wasn't just didn't necessarily get pushed to the forefront maybe as much, like in a whole song.
You mean it had an underdog quality to
No,
it?
it had like I've always like I saw, for example, Motorhead when I was 18, and we used to play Motorhead before we went on, and which is probably pretty ridiculous in thinking about it, but like
What do you mean in the PA? Like,
yeah, in the PA,
okay.
yeah.
that was your theme song.
That was our walk on music. But I think Bionic definitely
Oh yeah, of
brought
course.
that out. The later Change of Heart stuff, I just think it was a natural progression for me. Like,
Right, because
yeah.
Blutonia kind of followed Change of Heart stylistically in some
Well, those were more
ways.
like demos for what would have been the next Change of Heart record.
Right.
So
Okay. Because is there just the one? No, there's two Blutonia.
there's two.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Bionic precedes Come On?
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah.
around
Yeah,
the same.
yeah.
So you start playing. Bionic is not a band. Is it a band?
No,
anymore?
no. Jonathan's in USA out of Vietnam.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and Jonathan was in the Doughboys?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've known him since like, I don't know, 83, 4, when he was in Mike Marley and the Sailors, and I was in Neon Rome, and we bum rushed the stage and tossed them off the gear and played.
You're still good friends with Jonathan?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were mortal enemies for a long time too, which makes it even more
I
special.
saw
special.
I saw Bionic once, and I thought your interplay was interesting. Like I felt like there was something
Tension?
little, like a little bit, not like I've seen in any. I got to see, I think, some of the last Change of Heart shows in the relatively original version of the band, like in '97 or something like that. Right? That's
Like
when,
at the brass, whatever.
yeah. We've talked about
Oh,
this before.
man.
You were I mentioned the last time that you were the first person I'd ever interviewed for a print piece. I think I said you were the first person I ever interviewed. I just want to correct the record here.
Wrong.
In early '97 or spring of '97, I actually took a tape recorder to the Exclaim 5th anniversary party.
Oh, at the Masonic Temple?
Were you there?
We played.
Did you guys play?
Yeah, Change of Heart played, and we actually had a 360 liquid light show.
This was the one with like the Super Friends and the Local Rabbits and Thrush Hermit.
Yeah,
Okay.
we were in one of the other rooms.
Okay. Oh, maybe. Oh, right, because there's a big.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I don't remember if I was even aware of that. Maybe we got. Anyway, I ran
It was
around.
on the second floor, right?
Okay,
And
yeah.
there was like multiple rooms.
Right. Anyway, to correct the record,
Mm-hmm.
because I made a big emotional deal about it the last time I was in this place with you. But you're the first guy ever. I did walk around, and so some of those guys are the first. But you're
Right.
the first person where I'm like, I'm going to write an article. Either way, you're one of my. It's meaningful to me. But anyway, I could tell you were unhappy. I think during that run, not at each other. I don't think
No, not really. Just
the grind of.
the grind.
Because you were on your way to the Halifax pop explosion, I think right after that too, and I could just tell something was not quite right. But anyway, you do that, you do Blutonia, blah blah blah. Bionic influences come on some level. Like you play Bionic was like a metal band, right?
No, I wouldn't.
How would
out of
you-
respect to metalheads, I would say no.
Well, how would you describe Bionic?
Heavy.
It was a heavy rock
Yeah,
band.
heavy rock.
And does that inspire
Drop D,
Drop D,
heavy
right.
rock. Drop D, heavy rock.
So does that influence your next move in Come On?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Because Come On
But-
seemed like a totally different animal from anything I'd seen you do before.
Right.
It
Well,
was
it's a power trio.
It was a power trio for
Yeah.
one thing,
You're
was it-
limited there.
but the limitations are exhilarating, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know you can
Super
only do
fun.
so much.
Yeah. But
Right.
We're gonna try it
So you that band I saw.
and fail sometimes. Boy.
Did you fail?
Yeah, I listened to a couple of shows recently that were like,
No point going down the bad part of memory lane at this point. It is what
you're
it is.
going through the whole bad part.
Well, I am. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I like Come On a lot, as you know. I saw them a lot. And then anyway, so you do Public Animal, and now what's the sound of Public Animal compared to Come On? And maybe because it's in between the two things, the new thing that we're talking about today, and Come On is the middle thing is Public Animal, right?
Yeah.
How would you describe the sound of that?
That is a collective. It's actually very much like Change of Heart in that we try and all write together. Like each person has a part in a song, and not always, but a lot of the time, and it's more democratic. And like Future Now is not.
Future Now is you, more or less.
Sort of, yeah. Like not when we're in a band, not when we're the band, but like in terms of the record, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is Public Animal still going?
Oh yeah. We're actually our record's being mixed right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what, you're just constantly making.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
well, it's a double record, and it's crazy, and Caitlin's having a kid, and
Okay.
it's a good time.
So a little less pressure for you to be the primary songwriter in that band.
Yes.
You're one of how many songwriters?
Well, 4 really.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 songwriters.
Yeah,
Okay.
like we're pretty equal.
So, I mean, I saw you tweeting about you doing some solo recording over the last 2 years or something. How long have you been working on this Future Now music?
Almost 3 years actually.
3 years,
Yeah.
right? You would tweet like, "Hey, I just put down some guitar
Yeah.
tracks," and I'd be
No
like,
one
"Oh,
cares."
what's it? No,
Yeah.
no, not
Yeah.
that." I was just like, "Oh, what's Ian working on?"
Right.
Did you more or less make the record? Do you produce yourself in this case?
I did actually. I recorded, and I was like 100%.
Is that unusual for you?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Do you
but I
know-
got somebody else. Daryl Smith mixed the record.
Yes, and he's
So-
someone you've worked with before many times.
Well, he used to own Chemical.
That's right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Like he's the best.
he-
Sorry, just let me add that.
please add it.
Yeah,
Say what you
'cause-
want about Daryl. He seems like a nice guy.
Amazing.
But have you? I'm trying to think. I'm blanking on how many times you've worked with an external producer or engineer. You have done that
A lot.
mostly.
Yeah. Actually, I like it. I like recording with somebody there.
For feed, like for not
No,
feedback.
just so I can just concentrate on playing guitar.
But this was
Yeah.
not the case here.
No, this was me like in the room next door, like putting down 1 million guitar tracks forever for 2 years basically.
Are you someone that does relish that kind of collaborative feedback thing? Where
100%. Yeah.
so was it
Yeah.
weird not having that?
No, it was good. It was good. Just took too long. It was good though. Yeah.
Like you know yourself and what you like.
Yeah. And I wanted to be very specific about tones and stuff. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you go a little wild?
I did. I spent
Too many guitar tracks?
No, and also like a lot of time on where that microphone is going to sit on the cabinet, like when I'm recording it. Yeah.
That's got to be because is it a live off the floor? thing?
No, it's actually all piecemeal.
Everything's-
the whole record. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is that preferable?
No,
It's-
I like
that's-
playing. I like playing in a band.
How do you do this with the drums exactly? I've never really understood this because you hear of people being like, I played every instrument myself.
Right.
What do you start with on this record? Are you starting with the drums?
No, I did vocal and guitar demos to a click, and then the Glenn or Damon would follow
They'd
that.
follow that.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a real studio creation then.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually incredibly hard to play live. There's some really stupid moves I did. I changed the tuning of the guitar in one part of the first song, so it's like the actual tuning of the whole guitar has to change
In the song?
in the song. Yeah.
How do you get a little
Well,
pet?
because I can't do it.
So that's a studio mistake. Well, I saw you guys play in Hamilton. I
Right.
didn't notice you.
Yeah, you're not going to notice.
No one's
it,
gonna
but I'm
notice
going
it-
to notice
notice
it. Though,
that thing,
but the
okay.
chord's not quite right.
Okay. All right. So anyway, this album is called Signals Through the Flame. I've tried to get it a little bit at where you were at, sort of maybe mentally, emotionally, and coming up with this. What does
Yep.
Signals Through the Flame mean to you? What does that imagery mean? Flames, signals through the flames.
Basically, it's like if there's flames there, burn through those flames to show people or whatever you're trying to get to what you are. Like, be brighter than the flame.
Oh, that's very poetic.
Poetic, I know.
You didn't want to say that because it
No, I
sounded a
didn't.
little poetic.
Yeah, it did.
Why did that resonate with you? Again, optimistic. That's an optimistic sentiment.
I don't know. I was just reading about it, and I was like, I found it really fascinating, and it was just like, I should have written some down. About
No,
it,
it's
'cause
something
I
to
feel
do
like
with.
I'm misquoting it.
It's something from the Living Theater is
Yeah.
what I'm reading about on my phone as I fact check what you're saying, and I just am. It's just a fascinating. Like, I mean, okay, you found it inspiring, and that's.
that was enough.
That was enough.
That was enough. Yeah.
Does it feed into what's happening on the record per se, in terms of what you're saying in some of these songs? That sentiment.
Yeah, I mean a little bit. Yeah, because I think you know, in terms of like ecological things, I think we're getting to a point where it's like you know, things have to be done, obviously, and
yeah.
So it's time to do that, basically.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
No, I asked earlier if you felt like our contemporary timeline is feeding into this record in a particular way, and I was picking up on kind of climate change stuff, because you were talking about sort of mortality among your age group being a sort of the front of your mind there, but it does seem to me that there's aspects of the record that are dealing with our collective and imminent doom because of our own actions.
Yes, because of our own inactions.
Yeah. So is this a rallying cry per se?
I don't know. Maybe like I look at lyrics as kind of like maybe sort of post-it notes. That's sometimes like, you know, lines won't make sense back to back, but like on their own they might mean something.
Like a puzzle.
Like a puzzle, I guess. No, or just like a bunch of post-it notes.
Just like a bunch of random expressions that
Yeah.
sort of make sense to me.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, it's like more about how the vocal sounds to me than the lyric. So the lyric just drops in.
Okay.
A lot of the time.
You know, we're hearing lots of different perspectives these days from underrepresented people and people who are observing what's going on in the world. I feel like you've done that a little bit on this record, as vague as it is, and as much as you're like, I don't even know what I was talking about. I feel like you're saying that a little bit, right?
A little bit, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I'm not being dismissive of it.
No, I don't think you are either. I think you honestly are probably still processing a record that is
absolutely
even out.
100% actually. Yeah. Like the first time we did, there's a song called "Night of the Black Goat," and there's like the heaviest part on the record, and it's like talking about love, and I realized that like that's kind of like backwards to what you'd normally see at a heavy show.
Right.
It'd be like hate, and then this is like love.
But that's you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
This is the musical marriage is that you love really, really heavy things, sounds.
I like dark and light. Yeah.
But you sing, like, it seems to me interesting that you're like, I don't know exactly what I was trying to say, because your singing is very impassioned. Like, you're a very expressive singer.
Right.
And so you mean what you're saying. So I just wonder if that delivery is connected to a sentiment that is as earnest on some level. But I also know that you're like, I can't take this shit too seriously, man. It's rock and roll.
But also there's like a blankness, I think, that I love about when you're singing or playing a show that's phenomenal. Like where you're just like absolutely in the moment.
Oh.
And kind of, yeah, I don't know.
Is there?
It's like this pure like white light, or you know, or something.
Are you dying? What are you talking about?
No, it's just like sometimes shows are like wow, like the adrenaline is just incredible.
Yeah, there's a weird thing about being in the moment, but also detached from what you're doing.
Yeah, like where you're so in the moment, you're like not even like almost. Well, you're conscious, obviously, but you're just like in the now. You know.
That's a good
future now.
That's a good segue, because temporally speaking, I found that name interesting too. Because Ian Blurton's Future Now, I think, and I don't want to blow your mind here, but it feels like that just is the present. The future now is the present.
Yeah, it's now.
So why did we already talk about this?
No.
Why did you name this band Future Now? What are you getting at there with the temporality thing?
It's an MC5 song.
That's the only reason?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's also, you know, I like it, obviously.
Well, I know
we got a shirt. So,
I know you like the MC5.
Yeah.
But I just wondered.
It just, you know, choosing a band name now is like a nightmare.
No, there's that.
And that's the one that just kept popping up. And like, you know, even though there's a Christian, you know, teenagers group called that in the States, and there's just a lot of negatives, but not that Christian's bad.
But is there something more assertive about? There's another fellow MC5 fanatic, Mark Arm, and Mudhoney had a song called. They had a record or a song called "I'm Now."
Right.
There's just something about, and you mentioned the MC5 too. There's something about "I'm here now," juxtaposed with "future now." I'm just trying to figure out what it means. Like, is it like an assertion of self almost? Like, Because it's Ian Blurton's future now, by the way. It's not just future
Stop
now.
coming back to that.
I just wonder if something's going on with you.
No.
Okay.
No. But I mean, I do think that as you get older, you kind of, at least in my case, I really enjoy living in the present and being creative and doing as much of what I want to do without being selfish,
Okay.
You know?
Well, I appreciate this record, and I appreciate you, as you know, making music like this. I hope you know that.
Thank you.
I came all the way to
I
Toronto.
appreciate you doing what you do.
So, if people want to learn more about this record and your band, do you have a space on the internet right now for that stuff?
Yeah, like just Bandcamp, Ian Blurton Bandcamp.
Blurton.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's going to be on, whatever, Spotify and all that stuff.
What else is on your Ian Blurton Bandcamp in terms of your catalog?
Nothing.
This is it?
Yeah, just this band.
Because you've done stuff under your own name, so to speak.
Yeah, I might put that up.
Okay, that's the cool part of the internet. When you've had when you've been doing something as long as you've been doing it,
right?
You're gonna find. You just said you were listening to Come On shows the other day that someone somehow recorded, so you've got these things out there. Okay.
Yeah.
And the record's out when again?
June 7th, and there's a single out right now on Yeah Right, and it's 2 songs that aren't on the record.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. If we can go out on a single song from the new record, presuming that the record's out by the time people hear this, what would you select?
Days Will Remain.
Days Will Remain.
Yes, Days Will Remain.
Why did you pick that song?
Because it's the single.
Oh, it's the single.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you want to say anything about the song before we hear it? Anything at all?
No, it's a love letter to Thin Lizzy.
Okay.
For sure.
It's got.
I said love letter twice.
Does it have the harmonized guitar part?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what A lot of people associate that with Thin Lizzy.
Yeah. It's actually Wishbone Ash, but
okay.
We don't want to get to go too deep.
I feel like you know too much. You know too much about.
No, somebody I didn't really know that much about Wishbone Ash before, and somebody turned me on to them about 8 years ago or whatever, and holy shit, it's like that whole sound comes from.
I'm not familiar with them
that
myself.
Twin lead with the harmony and the weird guitar parts. There's even like television parts in it.
Oh,
yeah, it's amazing.
So it precedes Thin Lizzy.
Yes, and television,
and they may know that they may have known of them.
Oh yeah. Like the Iron Maiden thing.
Yes,
totally Wishbone Ash.
English band.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta look them up.
Yeah.
Should we just play Wishbone Ash right now?
Sure. Play Argus.
This is Days Will Remain.
Yes.
By Ian Blurton's Future Now. Ian, as always, thank you for making time for me. And
oh my God, thanks for having me.
Best of luck with everything.
Thank you.
What a treat. What a treat to talk to Ian Blurton again. One of the first people I ever interviewed in my entire life. Ian Blurton. Thank you, Ian, for being on this, the 487th episode of Creative Control, which is part of the Entertainment One podcast network and is available on all iOS and Android platforms and things like Spotify and YouTube and Audio Boom as well. If you can't find an episode that you're looking for on any of those things that I just mentioned, or if you want to learn more about me, sign up for my regularly scheduled newsletter, which I'm behind on. I got to schedule one of these newsletters in a regular way very soon. Anyway, if you want to do any of those things and learn more about me, please go to my website, vishkhanna.com. You can like Creative Control on Facebook. You can follow the show on Twitter at vishcreative or follow me directly at vishkhanna. You can also listen to a radio show version of Creative Control on Wednesdays at noon Eastern Standard Time around the world at CFRU.ca or on an actual radio at 93.3 FM if you're in or near Guelph. Also, please visit patreon.com/Creative Control to make a flexible monthly donation to keep this podcast going. It is entirely funded by people like you listening. Otherwise, there's nothing. There's no dough. So please go to patreon.com/Creative Control and make your flexible monthly donation today. Thanks again to Pizza Trokadero, The Bookshelf, and Planet Bean Coffee in Guelph, and Grandad's Donuts in Hamilton for their in-kind support for this show. Speaking of Guelph, which I think I just did a moment ago, Jim Guthrie I met in Guelph, and he's my friend, and he lets me use some music of his on this show. So go to jimguthrie.org to learn more about Jim and his amazing, amazing music. And thank you so much for listening to this episode with Ian Blurton and subscribing to this podcast, maybe digging into the other 486 episodes that are currently behind us. That would be cool. And telling your friends about the show, that would also be cool. You're cool. Thank you for listening to the show. I will talk to you very soon. Bye for now.